This is a 40-watt light bulb. If you leave it on all the time, it uses 1 kilowatt every day. And it's possible to express all forms of power consumption using this unit of the light bulb. I started measuring everything around my house, around my office. And I found some surprising things. First, I plug in a phone charger. And it didn't even register on this power meter. It uses 1/100th of a light bulb of power. So, I don't think the phone chargers can be our number one phone energy consumption. Just taking one hot bath every day uses the same energy. Same power of 5 light bulbs on all the time, non-stop. And I found I've been steadily using 40 light bulbs worth of gas for heating, making hot air or hot water. And that surprises me. Transport is one of the biggest forms of energy consumption, and it uses about a third about our energy. If you drive an average car 50 kilometers a day, that corresponds to adding 40 light bulbs on all the time. Today, the average British person is using 125 light bulbs of power. That's 125 light bulbs on all the time, non-stop. That's huge.
Hello, it's Megan. This week I'm going to talk about the difference between translators and interpreters. It's a common misconception that translators and interpreters do the same thing. So I'll just like to highlight a few similarities and differences between the two. Firstly, translation refers to written communication whereas interpreting refers to verbal communication. So, for example, a translator will not attend a court hearing to verbally translate between the parties involved, but would translate the written evidence used in the case. Secondly, both jobs require different skills. A translator requires the ability to write well and comprehensively into a target language. This means that they need to have an excellent command of their native language. For example, although I can speak French to a good standard, I cannot translate from English to French. Although I could translate from French to English, which means I'm only halfway there to being an international player. An interpreter needs to be able to speak both languages professionally. Thirdly, the qualifications and experience required to become either a professional translator or interpreter do differ. Both roles acquire years of training, the resulting qualification. But what they can learn on the training will be completely different. So just to be clear, translators will translate written texts and interpreters will translate a verbal communication.
Far too many people often say things like animals do this but we don't. Or this animal does this and that animal does this, but the humans don't do things like that. Those statements have some assumptions like we are not animals. When we say animals do this, animals do that, we often assume they are not animals. If we are not animals, what are we? Are we plants or trees or flowers? No, we are not. Then okay, we are not plants? And are we microorganisms, really tiny microscopic things? No, we are not. Then the natural conclusion must be we are not living things. That's not true. Yes, we are animals and I see animals in us and I see humans in animals. So, I'm going to talk about the animal behavior and human nature. In order to understand human nature, we can look into animals' eyes and animal behaviors and find something about what made us who we are.
The debt today is so high, it's 200,000 rupees, 300,000 rupees of peasant who have no capital. They who know within a year or two, when they accumulate that kind of debt, they will never be able to pay back. Where is the debt coming from? It's coming from a seed that is costing 100,000 to 200,000 rupees per kilogram, depending on what you got. See that used to be free, used to be theirs. Pesticides each time, the more they use, the more they have to use, 12 sprays, 15 sprays, 20 sprays. Pesticides used in just the last 5 years in the land areas of India has showed up by 2000%. That is what the free market and globalization have brought, and since we are talking about peasants, who have no money, who have no capital, they can only buy expensive seeds and expensive pesticides by borrowing, and to lend that money. The same companies that sell the pesticides, which are the same companies that sell the seeds, as you know, are now also the major creditors.
Well, the Voynich manuscript does have many different theories proposed for it. Some people think that it's a complete hoax. It's now been carbon dated from the 15th century. So it's most likely, if it is hoax, to have been a 15th century hoax, which I personally don't believe. But some people think it's just gobbledygook. It's just an invention to make money. Somebody made it to fool people and make money. Other people think it's probably a code. In other words, someone encoded lots of secrets in it, hoping that no one would find out. And if so, that's been very successful because no one has corrected it so far. But, in my opinion, it is actually a genuine script. Obviously, a human-devised script, but masking behind it a genuine human language. In a language, it seems to me to have more, if you like, Near Eastern, maybe Caucasian Asian aspects to it rather than European because of some of the words that I've decoded. So I would imagine that once we've actually managed to decode the script, we'll find that the language underneath is a natural human language, probably from that part of the world.